Good day and welcome. Today, on this Friday, the 31st of October, we will celebrate Transparent Day for the year of 2025. Internationally, the Transparent Day is on the first Sunday of a month, and which will be Sunday. So we decided today we dedicate our time to this topic. In a short while, I will introduce you to all of our guests. We have a few panelists here ready to talk about being transparent. Let me tell you also about Transparent Day. Transgender Parent Day is a special day celebrated annually to honor and recognize transgender parents and parents of transgender children. This day is opposed to the more traditional Mother's or Father's Day. So let's go ahead and have our discussion. I can't wait to hear opinions from our panelists. My name is Liesel Tron, and today I am the host because our usual host will be one of our panelists. We switched the seats around. So let me then, without further ado, introduce to the audience wherever you are watching from in this world. So it can be morning, evening, or even if you watch the recording later on, as a recording on YouTube or on our website. You are welcome, and we are excited for this discussion today. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panelists. And obviously, as you know now, Victor Mukasa is our first panelist I will introduce. Victor Mukasa is a human rights defender, founder of Victor Mukasa Foundation, and the dad of two beautiful young women who he calls his girls. One of them are 15 years old and the other one 25 years. So that is for our first panelist. And then we have Robert A. Hamblin. He is an artist, published author, afab-feminist, and parent to Georgia-Asemahle. His art flounces around the gender and bodily things. He seeks a recognition with nature for queer people. So also welcome to Robert. And then
was away for a moment.
Don't worry. And then our third panelist for today is Purity. And she's a trans rights activist and the executive director of Question Media, based in Sweden, and the mother to baby Asante. So here we are. I'm not going to read furthermore anything from screens. I want us to have a very nice flowing, natural conversation. So I will give in a moment everyone chance to just say hi to the audience, and then let's go ahead. So we can start. Victor, if you want to greet the audience, say anything. We are still kind of like in an ice-breaking space, and then we will take it away from here.
Yes, thank you so much, Liesel, and welcome to all of my fellow panelists today. I'm happy to be on this other side of the stage. She introduced me, I am Victor Mukasa, and today I show up as a trans dad, a proud one, and happy to share whatever is shareable during this show. Thank you.
Let me go in that same order. So, Robert, you can also greet the audience.
Hello, I'm Robert, and I'm so happy to be here. I've met Purity, so good to meet you. And Victor and I, many moons ago, we were just still small people, and now we're parents. So, yeah, that's big identities there.
Time jumped. And in the Purity, also you can greet the audience.
Hello, my name is Purity. I think I am the youngest mom in this room, so that's why you see that I look like this. We take care of ourselves. I'm not yet too exhausted because of motherhood, so I still look fresh. Until maybe 5 years, we can talk. So I am extremely happy to be here today.
Yes, that is true. Not that I have experience, but I think we will, if we redo this whole show, maybe in 2 or 3 years, we will have different views of people again. But this is also, I suppose, how parenthood go. And if we had a chance actually to interview Victor and Robert when their children were younger, then we would maybe also have a different version. So let's just go with the flow today. I think maybe let's declare here the answers of panelists today is in the moment of today. We don't quote them in the future, as that is the final answer on whatever questions I have to ask them. So let's go with that. On the one hand, we clearly will keep the conversation in a light way, but surely we will dip in and out depending on each person's experience. We will also dip in and out on more emotional or serious topics. But I think it's very timely and very important that we have this kind of discussion. Many of us, because we are activists, are at conferences, and there's usually not a lot of time dedicated to the experiences of trans parents. And Victor helped me, obviously, to prepare a list of questions. And I can tell you now, if we go by the list of questions and our three panelists, who are all three very well talkers, then this show might be 3 hours. So I will really try to use my skills and see how we navigate this show to cover as much as possible ground, but we also don't want to rush people. So therefore, I think I will start going away with the first question. And then let's see how it goes if people just want to kind of like show their hand and answer. And if that don't work for us, I will actually mention people. But I don't want to look like I'm prioritizing one before the other one. So let's just keep it like a conversation in the lounge, if that is going to work for us. I hope. Let's see how it goes. So I would like to actually know from all three of you, if you are willing to share regarding your personal journey of parenthood. What was that first moment in your life that you realized you wanted to be a parent? So this is now before there was a child in your picture, in your life. When can you remember the first time thinking of being a parent?
Ooh, la la, I'm gonna get into trouble, yeah.
Okay, I can go first then.
There you go, Purity. Yes.
You know, frankly speaking, trans parents, we've been parenting this community for a long period of time. And for me, when I was a refugee in Kenya, and there were so many young, very young trans refugees who were in their early 20s, 19, 18, and some even 15. And then they called me mother. All the time, they were looking for a mother figure, and I was a bit older in that community. And that feeling of over 5 years trying to mother this community and bring them together, it kept ringing in my mind that, okay, I think Purity, you actually deserve to have a family. But then I just didn't know how. But for the first time, and then I had to put it on my bucket list, and I just also didn't know how. But then when I came to Sweden, and I found and met so many inspiring trans parents, not so many. I started every time I could see a trans parent. It started with Victor. I could see Victor's children on sometimes Victor could even bring them on Facebook Live. And then in Sweden, I saw trans parenting, and I was like, okay, I really, really, really would love to become a mom. And so then I started looking out for ways how to make that happen. And this is where I am today.
Great, that is so true. Victor, maybe you want to share with us, meanwhile, also how you came to the decision of having children, or
Thank you very much.
The desire.
Yeah, I am happy to share that. And the beginnings also don't differ very much from how Purity experienced it. I have so many children in the LGBTIQ community, or it's called me Papa, and I'm sure some of them are about to call me Grandpa, but was always Papa.
Yo.
But you know, but within that period, all that period I have been doing activism before I became a dad, I had a dream to have children. And that dream had a lot to do with, oh, I'm going to have my eggs frozen and I'll keep them somewhere until I get somebody that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and we can co-parent these children. And indeed, when I went for my hysterectomy, I requested that my ovaries be left in there to continue, growing my eggs and stuff like that. So I had a partial hysterectomy for that purpose, to harvest eggs as soon as possible before they all burn out. By the time I was not on hormones and nothing else, but just that hysterectomy and my chest reconstruction. However, my parenthood, my being a dad, came in very unexpectedly before the time that I had planned. You understand? So I would say good luck came, because I always dreamt of fathering children. Some good luck came. A friend of mine far away, got pregnant, and certain things happened. And before I knew it, I was fathering a pregnancy. So the first child that I had, who is now 15 years old, I started fathering her when she was 3 months old in the womb. And the rest is history. I will share about how it is courageous to do it, and that's all that it needs when it finally shows up.
Thank you very much, Victor, for sharing that. And I'm glad also with our panelists that we have here, we will hear very different experiences and different stories. And this is great, because not even the 3 panelists here can be representative of all the experiences we will have within the trans community of parenthood. So Robert, let's hear from you. When and how did you decide, how did you come into parenthood?
I never wanted to be a parent. It was I told you I'm going to get into trouble. However, there's 2 people in a relationship, and my partner Sally just always wanted a baby, and eventually we got to a point where we had made a deal. I can be an artist, which is another kind of a baby, and then she'd have a baby. And of course, that meant I was going to be the parent, the primary parent, because artists are mostly home all the time. But I think the question was, when did I become a parent? And I think all through the whole process of adoption and that I was just sort of dragging along and being angry with systems like we do as activists, and also how binary that system of adoption is. The people that helped us, they said they were queer friendly and that, but you could see how everything is just set up for straight men and women. And so, there was a lot of that going on through my mind and just going on with your activism. But when I met that baby, she was sitting in the foster mother's arm, and I looked at her, and it was just this most spontaneous thing that came out of me, the way that, Afrikaans people who I grew up with say to babies. I said, "Hello, poopies," and which basically in English means "hello, little fart." The bond was there. She looked me in the eyes, and it was really no turning back from there. It was just a tsunami of that. There were nothing else mattered. Nothing else mattered. That's when I became a parent, and it was an amazing experience because it deleted me, and I really wanted that. I was tired of being this artist and activist where all the focus is on you. And so it was just a really big gift, the moment of becoming a parent.
That is very interesting, and I'm so glad to hear the sincere experiences from everyone. So let me go forward to a next question, kind of like still staying in the area of our personal journeys of parenthood. So then I would like to hear from you. What was it like preparing to bring a child into your life, emotionally, socially, or even legally? Was there certain preparations, and how was that for you? So maybe, I don't know if we want to go in the same order that we had.
Mama Asante should start now, just in case Asante wakes up before that question.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes,
Okay, but that is cheating.
what preparations you had?
Yeah, but that is cheating from Victor and Robert, because then I want to hear what they say so that I can prepare myself well. So that's cheating.
I mean,
really.
it depends on you. If you're fine, we can start.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Okay, next time you won't start again, but now let's start with you, Purity.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so I will do that, yes. So what was it like to prepare bringing a child into your life, emotionally, socially, or legally, whatever preparations you had done?
Yeah, it has been since pregnancy, so that means over Asante is 9 months, so that means over 18 months. And I don't think I am prepared still.
Yes, I'll second that.
There's that option.
I don't think so. I sometimes ask myself, like, I need to play back that movie and see how, because it just happened without my consent. It just went out and I'm like, oh wow. But anyway, when Kai and I planned to have a baby, it was a painful experience. And we chose not to tell anybody in the beginning. And literally until now, my friends think that I'm a snitch because I kept quiet about it. I did not know much. And the whole getting pregnant experience was quite painful. At some point, it had failed. And eventually, we were pregnant. But at the time when we were pregnant, I had kind of given up on, we had tried and failed. I think we had a same miscarriage or something as well. And then I was like, oh my goodness. And then boom, one day just tells me that, oh, Purity, I have this, the testing, the pregnancy test, and it shows positive. And he actually told me when we were at a train station, going somewhere out of the blue, and I was like, are you serious? Like, this is the most awkward place to tell somebody such huge news. Like, so before I could prepare my mind, the train was going and Kai was going a different direction. And I went in the train all filled with emotions. If there is any form of both euphoria and dysphoria that I have ever felt in my life, it was that day. They were extremely beautiful, euphoric experiences. I was just feeling like, wow, finally, I can actually have a baby. And for that matter, this is my biological baby. I wish this experience didn't, it found me, and I was quite alone in that train. But then also the emotions of dysphoria also now like chipped on me. It was like quite a lot. And then I started doubting. In fact, I told Kai, like, you know what, Kai? We need to go to the hospital and check and be, sure. And Kai was like, oh, Purity, I think so too, but I am sure that this is really it. And we went to hospital, and I remember the nurse saying, like, oh, it looks like a baby. I'm like, it looks like a baby? Oh, it's a baby. Like, what do you mean? Because still it was like a shock. 1 month, 2 months, the third month is when I got settled that we were pregnant. And then around that time, I don't know how time went so fast. We were going to antenatal, day in, day out. Oh my gosh, I was getting excited. And before I know it, it's actually coming to the 8th month. And actually in a month's time, we're having a baby. And oh my gosh, we are trying to organize it during winter. And the day comes and we are in hospital. And look who comes out. It's Asante. And I become a parent just like that. So there is, I think, I don't know others, but there is nothing that has prepared me. And you can imagine that was short because we didn't have quite like a very long relationship for us to be able to even like plan ahead of time. We didn't have time. So you can imagine when now you have a baby, for when you have a baby, every day is like, oh my gosh, there is a new step, there is something else, there is something else, there is something else. And sometimes I'm like, oh, Purity, how possible is it that this is where you are? It's just now that I when I have Asante, and Asante is now like, evolving every day. It's so real, but I am never prepared, and I don't think until now I am prepared. The only thing I am for sure now is that I am so grounded. I am so aware of my responsibilities. I am now the Purity, the mother, is that if you knew me a year back, I need to introduce myself, because motherhood is who I am now, and I don't think I'm going anywhere back. In fact, there is a part of Purity that I miss that I can never have again. Sometimes I see people going out to have fun. I'm like, oh dear, you are out having fun. I am struggling so much to afford a Sunday to go to bed, but it's fine. So yeah.
Thank you for that sharing. Robert, let's hear from you. Was there any preparations?
Yeah. So in South Africa, you can adopt through government, which is a governmental organization, and it takes very long, and like, anything in the two-tier system that we live in. And then you can do private adoption also. That's very expensive, but of course you get good service. And but the thing on both levels, you have to do an enormous amount of testing, psychometric testing. You have to test your relationship. Like Sally and I had to sit down and fill in a questionnaire, and she fills in a questionnaire, and then there's a third one where we got to fill them in together. And it's all these really intense questions where you have to confront one another. Are you really ready for parenthood? Are both of you doing this? What is your view on it? And you have all these psychiatrists and psychologists that are evaluating all these things. It's not like you can, just write something small. They really are checking you out. And they come look at your house, and they look if you are financially stable. They have your criminal record checked. And so, you have all these people that are really people who want to adopt children. There were two other queer couples. I didn't meet the one, but the one was with us in the room. And then, of course, there are all these heterosexual people, all of them so desperately want to have children, and, they're also going through all these tests. And I think one of the things that Sally and I decided in those moments was like, I think all people should go through this before they become parents. It's insane, that we have to, but okay. So that was one of the preparations. It was this really inspection of self that had to happen. And then there's all the obvious stuff where you've got to get ready for the baby to come to the house and all those things. But I don't think, I don't like gender a lot, binary gender, but my friends tease me because they say I was a real stereotype. Even though I don't call myself a father, I was typical like men are. Like mothers become, they say in those stereotypical things, mothers become mothers the moment they know the baby's alive in them, or in this case, that she was born somewhere else. But men become parents when they see the child. And, and when I met her, I realized I had done no emotional preparation, nothing, absolutely nothing. It was just, it was a bulldozer over me. I was a mess. It was such a confrontation with self and with everything that had happened with me before and life. Here's this creature you have to keep alive. There's nothing that can prepare you for that. I think Sally didn't feel that intensely. She was like ready and so happy just to do it. But I went through a crisis. There we are.
Thank you for sharing that, Robert. Victor, so any preparations on your side that you want to share, emotionally, financially, legally, anything you want to share there?
I'm just enjoying listening to these stories. It feels like a support group, but and it's really good mentally for me. But like I said, I was planning. I had a dream, but when it happened, I was not ready. It happened unexpectedly at a time when it was not planned for. So yeah, I wasn't ready, but I embraced first of all expecting parent status. I embraced it immediately. We were young. We spent nights in bars. Even the mother herself didn't drink, but she spent time because as kuchus, as queer people, the bars used to be our hanging place every day. But I was in South Africa when I got this news, and my children's mom eventually traveled back to Uganda. And I knew that as an expecting father, I have to be there for the mother and the child. So I started using my flying miles back to Uganda, back and forth, just to go and sing for my daughter in the womb. I would go back to Uganda for a weekend and, be there and have her mother and her in the bar all the nights, those nights. And then we would have hangover the following day. I'm sure my baby used to have hangover the following day because she would have spent the night in the bar dancing. Her mother was a big dancer. She danced all through the night. And even when I got drunk, I would get down and sing, "Hey baby, how are you? Are you in this kind of bar?" and stuff like that. Then I would go back to South Africa. A couple of months later, I would come in, and I took care of my children's mom to ensure that she's healthy and that she is doing well. When the child came finally after 9 months, I was not in Uganda. And the community already knew that, oh, Victor is expecting. And then the news broke out in community. It was Ugandans and it's Victor. So everybody knew the baby has come. But I had already picked. Then I started to plan. I started planning for this child when the child was being created. So I had picked some of the colleagues. For example, Frank Mugisha. I gave him the name of the child. If it's by the time I didn't know the gender. If it's a girl, she's going to be Joy because she's my joy. If it's a boy, it's going to be Victor Jr. But the mother had called me earlier on saying, I am about to have this child. Think about a name. And I had those two names in my head. So Frank Mugisha knew that if I find a boy, it's Victor Jr. If I find a girl, it's Joy. And then these gay people went and received the baby on my behalf while I was in South Africa. And everybody knew Victor's child. And this story will never end. It will continue. The one you see on the screen is my older daughter. She's also her sister from the same mother. I got that one as officially my daughter when she was 14. So they always fight between who is the firstborn. Is it me who was got first? Or is it me who is older? So they fight, they argue about that, who the firstborn is. But in terms of preparation, like my colleagues said, you can never prepare. Every age, every season is a brand new thing, and everything is a shock. So you cannot even prepare. I mean, I'm dealing with teenagers now, and I didn't know. I didn't know that this is how it would be. But at the end of the day, it is good. It is the love that is needed, and it's all that I keep giving.
I'm so glad with what you're saying there, Victor, and both of you Purity will know it in a short while, and Robert knows it already. There's the different phases, and every time you're introduced to a new being, a parent. And as from this moment, I'm stepping with Victor in this, like we are dealing with a teenager now. I almost feel like I'm the surrogate distant mother.
Yeah, you've been there.
I can testify. I stop it there.
Yeah. And the teenagers come in different styles. So
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
So get ready for it, Purity and Robert.
Yeah.
I want to move to a different section of our list of questions because I can listen forever about all of these things, but I'm going to look a little bit about how in what we call visibility, representation, and identity. So my question here, and now I'm going to switch it up that Purity is not again the first one to answer, but listen up. How has being a trans parent shaped how you see yourself, both as a parent and as a trans person? So, Robert, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, that for me is a very important part of this. I mean, everything about being an artist is about self, all the self, and especially if you're a queer artist, everything is about you, your identity politics, and then activism also. You
Yes.
know, we started gender dynamics in a time where people were not even out yet. People didn't even know the word transgender, and so I was this poster boy also all the time in public, and everything was about me. And so then the child comes into my life, and suddenly, especially when they start going to nursery school, you don't have a name anymore. Your name is Dada to the child, and your partner also starts calling you Dada, and because of sleep deprivation, you know, you just can't even remember your own name. And then you go to the school, and then you become your child's Dada. So the children will call you that too. And all of that to me was just a delight. It was so good for the focus not to be on me, you know, that I was in reference to a new creature. So I really enjoyed it. But that was sort of short-lived, you know, because what happens is, talk about the devil, the little devil. What happens is, it's Halloween, she's got little devils on her. What happens with you as an activist is that, you know, for a while I had privacy, and I wasn't this person at the school. I was just another parent. But then, of course, bad stuff starts happening. You see gender start happening in the school, and you can't have it. People learn who you are, and you just have to start stepping up again. And that was difficult for me because we all have burnouts. I think both of you know about burnouts. There comes a time where you want to step away from the work, and especially when you have a child and you want to concentrate on that, but you know that work just never stops. And so that was kind of difficult for me to step back into that and realize that we're really here now inside of the cishet norm, and this is the real work, because these people are anxious and wanting to understand how to live in the new world that they're confronted with. Yeah, so that was like a second confrontation.
So then let's hear from Victor. How did being a trans parent shape how you see yourself, both as a parent, as a trans person, and maybe we can add, and as an activist?
Yeah, thank you. I think that both of those aspects, parent, trans person, for me is a constant transformation. It is a journey, you know, that never ends. When I got my first arrival, the meaning first child, I myself was still struggling with language, you know, identity.
Yeah.
Then you hear this other terminology, and then you hear that other thing. I'm struggling with gender dysphoria, and yet I've already labeled myself as a dad. And I think that was a very difficult journey for me in my corner. Out there, everybody's like, "Oh, Victor is becoming a dad." But of course, I had a lot of fear. I had fear about, you know, family. Like, even if I don't deal with family, are they, you know, recognizing these as their nieces, nephews, grandchildren, and stuff like that? But it gave me the courage. It's one of the things that gave me the courage to continue on my journey, because I wondered, what's life going to be for my children, and how am I going to feel about that, you know, when they begin to ask questions and stuff like that. So I took on the battle of trying to understand myself even better, so that when these children also arrive, I am able to guide them through my journey in which they are fitting now. So I had to take care of a lot of things in terms of my transitioning, which was a very lonely journey at that point, because while I was celebrating fatherhood, I was also struggling alone, asking myself these questions. But the journey for me, why I say it continues, is that they have lived through part of my transitioning, my medical transitioning, and they have had to transition with me. And that has made me more comfortable doing that. Them being aware that I'm a trans dad, I had to use the support of therapists, professionals, those who know how to deal with children, to explain how diverse humanity is. That I went through 3/4 of my transitioning with my children. I had to prepare them for a beard, which was a very long conversation, because I knew the beard was coming. I knew the voice is going to change. How do they wake up in the morning and daddy has a different voice? How do they wake up in the morning? But I had to deal with that as I take care of me, my journey, that I make sure that they are not freaked out by what is happening with me. That it is my daughter, the young one, who counted the first beards, the first hairs that I got.
No.
It has come.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
I can
on.
see one. She would check every morning. Daddy, let's check if you got any hairs. And then she'll say, no, there's nothing. I said, don't worry. One morning we are going to wake up and it's there. So it's been a part of it that, before I end this, just summarizing so fast, that eventually when I was misgendered outside in this country, if I spoke to somebody, because I started my hormones way after decades, more than a decade after my surgeries. So my voice was always, high. And in this country, my children corrected shopkeepers. They corrected their teachers. They corrected people on the phone. If somebody says, hi, mom, you're speaking to this, I say, he's a man. That's my dad. He's transgender. If they stayed in the shop, mom, no, they'll say, sir, welcome. And then I say, thank you. Do you have this? Oh, sorry, mom, this is this amount of money. And my daughter, even the little one, would say, sorry, that's my dad. He's a transgender. And I worked with them through that because I wanted them to just be comfortable with their father. And they've never been disturbed by the fact that I'm transgender. It's all they know about me, especially the little one. It hasn't been difficult because of the process that I did. So my identity, my parenthood continues transitioning with them. There's a time when I told the little one, Daddy, how do you guys pee-pee? Before she knew. And I say, okay, this is what we do. And then I would pretend. But because of her knowledge, as she grew older, it became obvious to her, these are the challenges Daddy might be going through. These are, she completely understands it. Yeah.
I can listen the whole time to all of your experiences. Purity, share with us from your side, how did parenthood shape you, both as being a parent, a trans person, and you can add into the mix as a trans activist.
But wow, listening to Victor and Robert has made my day. I am so honored to listen to these conversations. But for me, how has it changed? One, just a teaser, it's the language. Purity, I use big words. And those words have changed because I'm also a step parent. So my biggest languages were the word, oh, bitch, please, and stuff like that. And then my stepson always tells me like, oh, Purity, what word do you use? I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to censor myself. And so it was like a whole rewiring of my mindset, and also like, choosing the decency that I never had before of language, like I've been corrected. But far from that, also to agree with Victor and Robert, I think how parenthood have shaped me, first of all, it has given me a huge purpose. And it has also given me a resilience to know that, for example, when I am now meeting the anti-gender movements, I am sorry. I now have a seat. What you used to demystify about families, I am so sorry. I am here to challenge you that that narrative is so old, and we are not so few. The trans families are now, gladly, we are living in a Gen Z world where there is social media, where we are sharing our joys. Before, the cisgender world were sharing all their joys of motherhood, of fatherhood, of parenthood, and all in between. And we were just left in the fight, and we were just left as if there was nothing happening. But look, Victor has been a parent for so long. Robert is a parent. There are so many trans parents who have been parents for over 50 years and plus, but because they never had a platform, but because of the anti-gender movements, those families had been diminished. And now we are just trying to say we are taking back that narrative. The transparenting has been in this world for a long period of time. Even before we started transitioning, there are so many transparents who are in the closet. There are so many transparents who are stuck in marriages they never deserved because patriarchy told them that you should either get married to a binary side and be accepted in the society. They are yet to come out as well because we are representing them to understand that, okay, if you feel like you want to come out, come, we are here, we are thriving, we are many. So there is also that part of parenthood. But also, we as transparents, we are put on a pedestal of parenthood. Either, and that's for me, that's what has shaped me in different ways, because I have seen how people are easy to give me advice that I actually don't ask for, including within the queer community. The myth that happened, for example, when we got pregnant and I announced that I was pregnant, I was extremely shocked to get calls from queer activists asking me, but Purity, how come you are a trans woman and a trans man and you have a child, you are pregnant, so who is pregnant? You need to tell us. And how did that happen? I'm like, I'm sorry. I am supposed to be celebrating the good news of me being pregnant. I don't think any other cisgender woman you have met who is pregnant, you have been able to ask them. You have only told them, congratulations, you are amazing, I wish you well, I hope you are, you are going to be an amazing parent. And so I chose to tell myself that, you know what, Purity, I no longer have a reason to why I need to explain how I had this baby, how this happened. The good thing is you need to watch me and Asante thrive. You need to watch me and Asante raise, grow. And it's up to you to choose what questions you want answered, and you can answer them by yourself. Because also this pedestal tells us that we as transparents, people don't trust us so much. If anything goes, because parenting has no manual, you make mistakes. You are always asking yourself whether you're doing enough. But because we are transparent, we come from a place of extreme transphobia. The world expects us to be perfect parents. And for me, it has shaped me to know that, okay, I need to first of all look at my mother, my mom, Margaret. When she was raising us, I see the imperfections. Now that I'm a parent, I see where she actually felt she wasn't enough, where she was trying to do her best, where she didn't have a book, but these are the morals she brought on the table. She didn't know any better, but this is what she knew, and this is what she had to do. And that's what I am doing. I am choosing all the good values that I know of, all the values that I never had, all the values that I see in other transparents, and I choose to use those as I raise my child. And also the focus. the focus is no longer actually on purity, and that is so beautiful. Now I even feel intimidated when I have to post my own photo. I'm like, what? Why are you posting my photo? there is so many beautiful, photos. Like every day I am with Asante and I want to take photos, really, because like, she's so cute, you guys. I'm sorry, that's what every parent says to their child, but then for me, every day is an experience. When she starts scrolling around, I'm like, oh my gosh. So now the focus is no longer the Purity, the activist alone. The focus now is on Purity as a parent. Everywhere I go now, they ask me, Purity, how are you? And you have a mother now, how is it going? And so how has that shaped me? It has also reminded me that now I am no longer only living for myself, I'm living for somebody else.
And we no longer ask about you. We ask about Asante now.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody asked me. How are you? Are you fine? No, like, how is Asante? Is everything okay with them? Nobody asks me. So it's no longer really, about me. And now also the last one is how it has shaped me. I am glad that I had a child in this era where there is social media, where there is a global community that you don't have to meet them. But I'm also glad that in Sweden, for example, there is, community support. We are not a few. We are quite a number of trans parents and stuff like that. So every week when I go to an open preschool, a queer open preschool, and I meet other parents, we are comparing notes. We are asking ourselves. Recently, we had a whole session on pronouns, and everybody wasn't having it the right way and stuff like that. We were having about, what schools we want our children to go to and stuff like that. And so I would love to say that finally I am a whole new being, and I do not want to exclude myself from a normal, regular family of a parent who is doing their best to be a mother. So the shaping me is the fact that I'm now a mother before you can say Purity as a trans woman. I would love that so much, that you look at me as a parent before you think about Purity as a trans woman.
Wow. Yes, I really get inspired and so excited about all the answers of everyone the whole time. And each one of you, when you answer, lead me to, this is going to be the next question, because it will flow in, and then the next person speak, and no, I will choose this question in the next. So, as I said, we want to try and keep on a good time-wise, also for our audience, but I can go on forever. All of you really have so many insights to share. And this is actually so great. So I think, let me say this, I think I still have 2 more questions for everyone. Let's see how it goes. So I'm now going to go with the discussion into a different direction. I want to hear from everyone. What specific barriers have you faced as a trans parent, legally, socially, or within schools, healthcare, daily life? Let's get to that. Some of you touched on some of it already, but if each one can highlight 1 or 2 serious or important barriers that you faced. Let's hear this time first from Victor.
That one shook my heart a little bit out of the excitement that I was feeling with my fellow parents. But, for me, being a trans parent has felt like walking through layers of invisibility at so many points of my life. Everything is super at home, but the systems sometimes have become so difficult. And most of the challenges that I have faced as a trans parent have been with the systems, be it in their schools, be it in the hospitals, be it in filling in forms, be it in legally, adoptions and everything. I mean, from the word go. Even if my community knew me as a trans dad, my immediate queer community, I wanted my family, blood family, to celebrate my achievement, for example, the way they celebrate the achievements of my other siblings. And that was not the case, except for a couple of them who just had to celebrate it. When it came to, I dreamt of taking my children through what my parents took me through, even religiously, baptism and all that. My daughter had, my young daughter, my last daughter had baptism in Uganda, in the Catholic Church. But she could not have that ceremony inside the church building. She had it at a priest's home. And then I invited the community to come. But I wanted to be with the other parents who were christening their children. And we all march with our babies in white. I have very beautiful pictures. I wish I had shared them of this wedding. It was like a wedding in Uganda because there was a baptism at the priest's home and an after party for the queer community. It was like a wedding. But I would have wanted it outside of that. Even the godfathers and godmothers I had to get from the community. And then, lucky enough, one of my sisters accepted to be a godmother for that baptism. But there are so many other things. I could not have documentation in Uganda for that, to be recognized as a Ugandan father. If a Ugandan who is a father, it was impossible. And it's been like that. But when you come here in the diaspora also, things have not been always straight. It is where you go to the school and where I used to go to kindergarten to see her, and the first reactions are, all right, the women decide, the men decide, and stuff like that. And sometimes it would feel a little bit weird. And then the forms I am filling, or I would find when they have, because I had not yet changed anything to do with my names and gender, markers. I would find when I've been placed as the mother of this child, but I registered as the father. It was not until about a couple of years ago that a certain process took place in the court system, in the legal system, and I was recognized by a judge as a father to my daughter. But that was still very difficult. And so it's in the hospitals and how they call you, because things are not legal. Sometimes you're not even on a birth certificate. You're not, because they could not put you because you are going as female, your identification. I mean, a lot of struggles there that you celebrate. You come back home and your daughter screams, "Daddy!" But where you're coming from, you felt so small and empty and unworthy and not parent enough, and I think that for me that has been very difficult, and it shows up every now and then. Here we are in a country right now where being trans is a challenge. Of course, there are certain systems, there are certain services that we are even afraid of going to because we are going to have to argue that, while other fathers are going there with all the privilege, with nobody stopping them. So for me, it is that continuous struggle, and I refuse to go in stealth because I don't want that. And pretend to be, not pretend, because some people just have to do that for survival, and hide myself completely. And I think it's a big lesson also to my children that these threats that we meet in life are not the end of it. And sometimes we have to stand up and step forward, through these that look like threats, so that we push them away, and they know that I fight every day for that. it's a continuous lesson for all of us. And I know that these layers of invisibility are going to continue to the end. I have often asked myself, God forbid, if one of my children die, my brothers and sisters take them back to our ancestral home. Are they going to be accepted there? But if I die, I'm already asking myself, do I get banned, cremated in the US so that my children have access to that last moment? Do I be taken back home and my children be denied, probably even denied access to saying bye to me there as their father? Because at home, they might find my body dressed up like a woman, which is typical in Africa. Dressed up like a woman, they would be like, why is our dad, dressed like this? I still struggle with those questions inside me, even if we are having a nice dinner together, even if we are going out to play together, even if we are having Thanksgiving together, those questions still stick. And I feel that the layers of invisibility for me and for many trans people are going to continue till we don't exist anymore.
Thank you for sharing that, Victor. Serious thoughts. Purity, any barriers you want to talk about that you are facing in this world?
Yes, and probably I'll be leaving soon from my instincts. But yeah, because from the room I hear there are some bubbles, not yet. But wow, I think Victor has shared a message that I don't want to repeat. I want to reaffirm that invisibility is who we are. But then invisibility is not what we are supposed to be, and it should. There are layers to how I look at the future. I'm like, where we were as a trans movement, as transparent, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, maybe even 10, maybe even 5, it is a little bit different today. We only always hope for the better, even when we are now faced with our anti-gender movements. But the invisibility is chronic, and it's also quite very lonely, because transparenting sometimes can be extremely lonely. When you hear Victor explaining, those are the things that Victor probably doesn't even share, has the opportunity to share with others, or even with other parents, or whoever is available around, and also the systems. When it comes to the systems, I would love to feel like I am a little privileged that I live in Sweden, where at least there is still more focus on children. Child care in Sweden is a little bit quite much better than so many other countries. So there is a softened kind of system that when you go to hospital, sometimes I am misgendered, but then in most cases I'm not misgendered, but then I can tell from the nurse, like, oh wow, really? Like, are you actually the parent of this child? But anyway, what do? I'm here to be a nurse, so let me just put the plastic smile on my face and I let this person go. That also is a feeling in all systems that I go to. And sometimes it's even like just me feeling like that, not even what exactly is happening. It is the transphobia built in us and all these systems of oppression that makes us feel like I am actually being judged as a parent. I think they don't look at me even right. Like, you are always extremely nervous and tensed up and all that. And for me, what I need to focus on so that I don't debunk Victor's very important submission is family. Recently, when I had Asante, my mom got to know, my parents got to know. I haven't talked to my family in a long time. I mean, I was banished by nothing. Like, everything they have said is like the worst. You can never have children. You are abnormal. You are this. you are a disgrace. But then when I had Asante, my mom literally wanted to be to confirm even. And she came back. Somehow it's a pain. In the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, I really miss my mom. I actually need my mom, but I don't even know whether she actually wants me back. And I don't know what condition, and I don't want even to open that painful experience of what I had to go through. I wouldn't be in Sweden. For me, I don't think actually even transphobia in Uganda would have been worse. I would have thrived, but for me, it's family. It's family. It's the laws are there, but maybe probably I would thrive like others, but it's family that just wanted to kill me or something. But then I missed my mother in a way that I never knew that I could meet her. And then so when she reached out, I was like, okay, it's fine, Purity, calm down, start forging this relationship. And also, this is Asante's, grandmother. And maybe Asante in the future might blame you for not trying to fix this relationship. And you have a lot of answers, like Victor says, to answer to Asante. Let this one be that I tried. If it fails, it fails. If it works out, that's beautiful. For now, my mother chose to ask me at some point, like, oh, so you are actually still gay? I'm like, yeah. And so you had they told me that you had a womb transplant.
Oh.
And that's why you were pregnant, because she got a wrong narrative that I was actually the one who was pregnant. Like, oh my God, so is it your real, like, biological child? Are you sure? And gladly, Asante is a photocopy of Purity. Like, it's like extremely obvious. And then I also look like my mom. So when I brought Asante, she definitely saw herself. So I was like, I look at this head. We have some kind of funny heads in our family, and Asante chose to take that head. I wonder why she chose that particular. I told her at least choose something else, not that head. Everything else is fine, but the head, no. But she chose it, and it looks good on her. And my mom say like, "Oh my gosh, she actually has the family head." Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Then now, our grandparent, the instincts, I think in her, she has also suffered transphobia as a parent of, a parent of a trans person. So I cannot say that she has not suffered. She's really suffered as well. Being a trans parent in Uganda, regardless, it is extremely harsh. So she just told me that, okay, but then again, so do I call you a woman, or I don't know exactly what to do with myself? And I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, I think I would prefer still calling you my son. I'm like, okay, if this is what you see as a son or something, then it's fine. And now she's struggling. She's like, okay, but it's fine. I'm going to call you whatever you want to be called. So if you choose that you want to be Purity, I'll ask you. I'll call you that. If you choose to be a woman, I'll call you that. And it will be God to judge. And I have prayed about it, but now I want to be in the life of my child. And now we are on that journey. Sometimes she comes back and says like, oh, hello. How are you, Purity? I'm like, I'm fine. And she goes to Asante. Sometimes she comes and misgenders me the whole conversation when I'm watching. And you're like, oh, wow. But you see,
Mom.
that is a journey that people would say like, okay, now you're lucky that you are talking to your mother. She helped me quite a lot in every stage of Asante's life. My mother knows better. She knows exactly what to do. I am enjoying that because I deserve to have that as somebody who has a parent. But then the pain of knowing what the gossip is in my family, the pain of knowing that I'm actually not accepted, but my child is the one who is accepted.
Yeah.
My sister at some point told my mom, because I don't talk to her, like, okay, could you tell Purity, if I could come to Sweden at some point and I pick Asante and I bring her to Uganda, but she doesn't have to come with Asante.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? And so it's they are hidden side of who we are, that other parents are struggling, because parenting is a big job. Like it's exhausting. It's beautiful, but it's exhausting. As other parents are having all the support in the world because they need it, as they are looking out for, they are burnt out, you're burnt out, you are not sleeping enough, you are not doing that. But then even when you have all the support around you as a cisgender parent, for us, we are even dealing with people looking at us differently as parents. But my conclusion is that I have also now have to create a resilience that if I feel something is not right, I run away from it and I say, you know what, my child, this direction, we don't need it. There are trans friends of mine who are parents, and I would love you to focus on those, and I focus on that kind of support, and the rest should be background noise. It is extremely hard, but it is what it is, and we thrive through it. With that, I think I need to go because I hear Asante is already calling me, and he's authoritatively dictating that I need to go.
The boss.
Thank you very much, Purity, for sharing that dualism situation that you are facing in. It's quite intimate information. Thank you for sharing that. If you find that Asante calms down and you want to come back, you can. We will play it how it goes. But for now, go and have an attention moment with Asante.
Okay.
Robert, let's hear
boss Asante.
Okay, thank
Robert, let's hear from you. If you want to share any barriers or challenges in that type of way regarding parenthood, as being a trans parent, whether it was legal, socially, within schools, healthcare, if there's any barriers you want to share. And then I will have the happy question afterwards for everyone.
Yeah, I think you know, we have a very privileged life, and so you know we don't really, and you know we have the privilege of looking cisgender and all that, and so no, you know, and I've got my documents in South Africa and all these things, and we move in very spaces like the school. It's all, I feel incredibly lucky because it's just luck, right? I could have landed somewhere else also. I think our biggest challenge is also our biggest gift is race, because we have a mixed family. We have all the stuff that other mixed families have in South Africa, and so at first it was really hard. People keep asking Georgie if I'm her father, and they ask me if I'm, you know, her father, and if she's my child, and so there's all this like stuff where there's disbelief about identity, and I mean that's not just a trans parents challenge, but at the same time, as much as that is been a difficult thing for us that we had to face head on all the time, especially in Cape Town, which is, you know, got all this segregation that still goes on. It's very, very painful. It was also a gift, because I think as a white person in South Africa, you know, both Sally and I are very active anti-racism. We live our lives anti-racism, and we did before we had a baby. But it was kind of just like it is. Even people who are homophobic and transphobic, when they have a personal experience, then suddenly, you know, they get it better. And so not that I got race better, it just became really fucking personal. And it's not like with a boyfriend or with a lover. Okay, that's already, you know, you're holding a different body than what you used to. And so there's all these heart openings that happen. And I'm gonna cry if I talk about this. It's really hard. But when it's your child, you'll fucking kill, you know. You suddenly understand the whole vulnerability of what your people caused and what people go through. And so as painful as that may be, it was a gift. It was a gift of connection to the rest of the world. Yeah, I mean, I'll get really dramatic about it, but yeah, at times it's still very difficult, and it causes a lot of isolation, you know. It's just a whole, and I'm happy that I got rid of a lot of people, but yeah, it was yeah, anyway.
Let me take us all to a more happy space. I mean, it is not to say anything is not as Robert. Well, actually, it's all three of you share. These barriers are also important to talk about because it is realities.
Yeah.
They are realities, and we can't only paint a glorious rosy picture. So thank you very much for intimately really sharing also the emotional parts. All three of you, I say three because Purity was all along part of this show. But I want us to end in a way as when Victor is our host, typically always do asking one parting question from each panelist, where studio will bring only that one person on top. And so I think the parting question, and let me start then with Victor. What I want to ask you is, what are some moments of pride or joy that remind you why this journey is worth it?
Right. Thank you very much, Lizo. As a trans parent, first and foremost in this conversation, I am a parent. That alone makes me really happy, proud. Why? Because parenthood has been for me, has proven to me true love. And it has proven to me that true love is stronger than anything there is in this world. That amidst all the challenges that we face, including homophobia and transphobia, true love, the love that we give, because if anybody is thinking about having children, see it, and you actually, for those who have children, see yourself as a courageous person, because it's not easy, but also see it as you being a person who has true love, because it's not easy to love in this under the circumstances that surround us. So it also becomes the encouragement I have for people out there that it is very possible. It has its challenges, but it's one of the sweetest things you can experience in life. I love being a parent. I enjoy being a parent. I enjoy learning every day. I learn from my children. They have taught me a lot. They have saved me from a lot. One of the sweetest moments in my life is the fact that I used to drink a lot. And one time, my child saw a man who was so drunk on the streets. And she said, "This guy is a drunkard." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "And drunk people who drink abuse their children." And I said, "Yes, they can abuse their children." And she said, "And Daddy, I don't want you to ever drink, because then I might be abused." And so I said, "Never again. Never again will I drink." And that is what healed me. So much as we give a lot to these kids, these children also bring us a lot of healing, and they love us unconditionally because they know that we are their parents who have loved them, who have supported them, who have nurtured them, who have carried them, who have told them how to ride a bike, who have fed them, who have carried them when they are falling. They just know that we are love. And for me, that is what I live for right now. My children are my healers. My children are my joy. My children are my life.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Victor. Thank you very much. So, Robert, I'm going to ask you the same question. I will just repeat it again. What are some moments of pride or joy that remind you why this journey is worth it?
I just thought of, I wrote a memoir during COVID, and it sort of started out with this wild queer life in the beginning, and it's all the sex and discovering my body, and through all sexual experiences, and trying to explain to people, not with political language, what dysphoria is, and the disconnect one feels, and the struggles you have with your body. Never mind the politics, that only comes afterwards. And when you learn feminism, you understand that you need to let gender go. You don't cling to it. But it's really hard. We live in those systems. They program us. We're clinging to them. They're squeezing us, and we are dependent on capitalism and on patriarchy. And as much as we try to resist it, and our bodies, have a role inside of that, or assigned roles. But I will tell you what my child brought to me, and I wrote this at the end of the book. She used to, like, when I taught her body, she used to have this thing about making little metaphors. Hold up your arms, Dada. Now you can be my aeroplane. Yeah, Dada, this looks like a bird. Your mouth looks like a bird, and your beard is my hat. She'd put her head under I had a long beard. Then she put her head under she says, look at my hat. And one day we were playing this game again in the morning when we are all together drinking coffee, and I kind of realized that my gendered body has no meaning to her at all. All these small things, she has given new meaning to my body. And I think that is what parenting brings for all of us. Sure, we want to be a dad, and we play those roles out there because she needs that too, right? And her mom and all those things. But my body got a new meaning when I got a child, when that baby was sleeping on me. And I think that was part of healing from dysphoria or whatever issues we have with our body, and what society or the systems that we live in make us believe about our bodies. And yes, like Victor said, that's healing, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lizo, before you close us off, I just remembered something that I wanted to say very quickly is, gratitude to everybody who has been there for my family in everything, because this has not been alone. However, I would like to lift up a special person in all this. As everybody talks about their partner and everything, my partner in this the lives of these children is their mother, who is not my partner, but a co-parent. I would like to give a special shout out to her for bringing these children into my life and letting me in, and because that is what made me this proud parent that I am.
And that is also important, recognizing. So I thank you that you shared your partner in parenting.
Yes, Sally said, what about me, when she heard the program's coming on?
You better.
Oh, Sally. That is true, right? As much as we metaphorically say that it takes a whole community to raise a child, but the actual direct partner in parenting is really the next important person, right?
That's right.
Yes, and let's face it, our partners go through all the trans challenges as well. They're the ones that are holding it, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I really would like to say thank you. And Victor knows this because together we prepared a list of questions. I only maybe touched on the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more questions, but wow. I think this was already a very rich and powerful discussion, and it could go on forever, surely. So I really would like to thank both of you and Purity, who have had to leave us for this moment. I really want to thank everyone for their time. I think if we look in the future at this show again, it really maybe started touching on very important topics, even though we only just scratched the surface. So really, really thank you very much. I think this was a rich discussion. Show us, Robert, where are we at? Wow, because Robert, you started this when we started the show, right?
Yes.
Wow.
I love this. I love this.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's a dress or if it's the holding the children.
We will still get to what it is, but I
Yes,
really
yes.
like it. Wow, look at that.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for all your inspiration. This was a beautiful discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So yes, thank
Purity.
you, Robert. Thank you, Victor.
Yes.
Thank you, Purity. And
Thank you,
while I'm
Liesel, for
here
bringing
in
it
the-
together.
and while
And
I'm also
Victor.
here in the phase of thank yous, as usually, I also just want to say thank you to our funders that support us always with this work. In this current moment, it is Australia Foundation and also the other foundation. And I want to thank also our fiscal host and partner, Gender Dynamics, for holding space for us sometimes when we are not able ourselves. So yeah, this is the moment of thank yous for everyone and everything. And then fortunately, this show will be up on our YouTube channel, which will be linked through to our website at a section where if you click in the top, there's a section for audio and video. So we will be able to relive or see the show also in our own time whenever people want to, because normally Facebook keeps the shows only for a month, but we will have it permanently on the YouTube and on the website. So thank you, all of the administration and advertising was done now. Thank you, everyone. That's it for today then, and next week we will have again another exciting show. Thank you.
Thank you.